I'm talking about books to the camera.
What?
I'm filming myself talking about books to the camera.
What are you talking about?
Books to the camera. I don't get it. That's fine. Hello. If you're new here, my name is Christina, aka Northwest Reader, and if you're new here, this is my channel about books and art and all that fun stuff. Anyways, it is hot in Washington. You're gonna hear fans going. You're probably gonna hear my kid running around because he's refusing to nap, and I want to film this. So we'll see how far in I can get before he comes running out. But I wanted to go over some books that I read in the month of not August, July. And from what I can tell, I read roughly 12 stories. There is a handful of short stories in there, so it's kind of, I count it, but like not, you know, like it's a little weird. But anyways, so during the month of July, I did Summerween, which you can watch the link. I have 2 videos that I broke up, so that's fun. But the books that I read for that are Wallflower by Lutzke. If you want to know more details about especially the Summerween books, just check out the videos. I really like this. I think I give it 4.5 stars. I thought it was really good. Yeah, I've already went in depth about it, but about addiction and curiosity and stuff like that. So yeah, very good. I think this is my 3rd Lutzke book I've read. So then the next book I finished is Gone to See the Riverman by Kristopher, Triana. I thought it was pretty good. I think I also gave it like 4 stars. I was expecting it to be super gory and just disgusting, you know, like just super nasty, but really it's disturbing for other reasons, which totally caught me off guard. And wow, is all I'm saying. But pretty good. I think this is my first by this author. I want to check out their other one, the Screaming one, which I have the e-copy for. But this is about a woman who's obsessed with this serial killer, and then she builds this relationship through letters and stuff like that, and then he wants her to prove her love for him by going to his cabin in the woods and getting a key and giving it to the riverman. So that's her goal, that's her mission, and you follow her during this, and it does a lot of flashbacks about her life and her sister's life and stuff like that, so pretty good. Also during the Summerween, I finished The Haunted by Danielle Vega. It's a YA haunted horror revenge type of story. I listened to it on audio. I thought it was pretty good. I'm not one for YA, so that's my fault. Even though I like Danielle Vega, I really enjoyed her The Merciless. I really enjoyed that book a lot. I thought it was pretty good and scary and messed up. But this wasn't too scary. It's this teenage girl moves into this town with her parents, and it's a super small town, and the house they live in, they expect is like haunted. So that's pretty much it. Again, I thought it was okay. I give it like 3.5, 4 stars. It was alright. It was solid. Anyways, so the next book I finished this past month is K-Block by T.G. Frost. I received this copy for review from the author, so thank you very much, TG, for this. But it is about a prison that has this wing called the K-Block, where a select few prisoners get chosen to go there. So they go there, and it's way more relaxed than the prison itself, like no handcuffs, nothing like that. But weird experiments are being done to them, and they don't know why these things are happening. They think that their nightmares are being harvested in some type of way. And yeah, it definitely had some creepy moments. I love the characters in this. I think there's like 5 characters. They have a great dynamic. The ending was super crazy, but I really enjoyed the main character, the protagonist in this, because it's his perspective. He's telling the story to the reader, so it's stuff that's already happened, so he's just kind of reliving it. It was left on a bit of a cliffhanger, just a little bit, not in an annoying sense. Like, I'm definitely going to pick up the next one. I would say the pacing is a little weird in this. It's really steady and slower in a lot of it, but then towards from the middle, like 75% to the end, it's like so many things are happening all at once, and it just felt a little off. I don't know how to describe it, but that was like something that stood out to me, was the pacing felt weird, and I wish there was more horror. Like, there's creepiness, don't get me wrong, and they had horror moments, but the really scary moments, the body horror, grossness moments, I wanted more of those. And I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really good, solid, and this is my first TG Frost, so thank you so much for this. So another book that I finished, I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was really good. It's Stages of a Breakup by Patrick Johns. This author also reached out to me. I read their first book, which I forget what it's called, but it's a book of poetry about breaking up, and then this, or heartbreak, and then this is the same topic. And like I always say, I'm not an expert with poetry, none whatsoever, but this was really solid in my opinion, because it does the whole like dancing the lines to almost a rhythm, and the pacing of all of them was really cool, and it worked well, and I just really enjoyed just the heartbreak of it all. It made me just relive my early 20s, late teens, where you have a heartbreak and you break up with your partner and it just doesn't work out and you're just devastated. It gave me those feelings, so it's really good. It's poems of denial, anger, and depression, and it hits the nail on the head on all of them. I still have to type up my review for this, but I recommend it if you, because I know there's some poetry like reader snobs out there that are just like way smarter than me. And I'm not saying this is a dumb poetry book, but I found a lot of enjoyment from it because it was easy to follow, and yeah, I think it's a really good collection. So thank you. So another book I finished is a novella, and it's The Potted Plant by Thomas Gloom. I got this a while ago, but it's so cute. It's so tiny. Look how tiny it is. It works very well with this book. It's about this guy who, let me make sure I'm not spoiling anything. The love of his life pretty much breaks his heart, and he's going to take revenge by giving her this deadly plant that will hopefully eat her. And it was enjoyable. I had so much fun with this. I would say though, there's a cat in here. The cat doesn't pass away, but the cat gets hurt. For the animal lovers out there, because when he first introduces the cat, and I was like, oh no, the cat's gonna get it, but the cat doesn't. But he gets hurt. Just putting it out there. Just brace yourself, because it's like, oh no, because I'm a cat lover. But yeah, it's just about him preparing this plant to give to his ex-girlfriend. And the reveal at the end really surprised me. I like how it ended. It left you wanting more in a good way, but just the reveal at the end, I was like, oh, like I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, I highly recommend it. It was a quick read. I read it in like one sitting. So good. And I believe this is also my first Thomas Gloom book. So yeah, you should check it out. So now that those are the physical reads I had with me, so I'm going to go through my Goodreads and look at those. So my Goodreads. So I was contacted by someone, I don't even remember, from my website, who wanted me to read a short story by them, and it's called A Puppet Scorned by Jamie Kort. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was hilarious. It's actually really entertaining and a lot of fun. It's about these puppets, these like sock puppets, in an attic, I believe, and their crazy relationship that they have, and it's like, it's sexual in a weird way, and horrifying at the same time. I enjoyed this so much. At first I didn't know what to expect, and like especially in the very beginning I'm like, this is out there. This is like way out there. I don't know about this. But when it gets to the horror elements and like the twist in this, I was just shook. I was shook by the twist, and it was really good and really fast read. It's pretty short too. Yeah, I highly recommend this. You should definitely check it out. It was really good, and it was different, and I always appreciate that, especially with short stories. So yeah, 4 stars. So a book that I have physically, but I put it away somewhere, Gag Reflex by Elle Nash, or Ellie Nash. I gave that 4 stars. It's pretty much a novella of pages from a live journal entries, and it looks like live journal. I'm from the live journal era, and it was so cool to just relive it. And it's following a girl who has disordered eating, so trigger warnings, content warnings for this. It's very triggering. I was okay because I was a little concerned at first because I also come from the ED community back in the early 2000s on LiveJournal. So a lot of the stuff that the entries were showing, it was like reliving the past. It was super crazy. But it was an interesting story. I thought it did pretty well. And there's not a ton to it. Figure herself out in her life and her love life and who she is and everything, and that's pretty much it. But I enjoyed it, and I really liked the cover. So I finally finished also Nightmare Nirvana by Aron Boegard. I think I finished it actually before, like the month before, but I just didn't update. I give it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. It's like a short story collection. It's my first Beauregard anything by them, so I really enjoyed it. Each story has a design, like artwork in it, and even some of them have more than just one. I think one of my favorites is where this boy is at his friend's house and they're gonna do an upper decker prank, and when he lifts the back the toilet seat lid up, the back water tank, there's a disposable camera and a baggie in it, and it's like, what? And there's this whole mystery behind it, and I really like the reveals at the end of it. I thought it was really good. But yeah, 4 stars. Really good collection. Oh my goodness, this one. So a book I finished, Acts of Service by Lillian Fishman. I gave it 2 stars. Man, talk about a book I struggled getting through. I was reading it physically. I was really interested in the beginning of it, and then once I got to part 2, I just did not care anymore because it was like 80 pages of the same thing. Being in this woman's head, and you're just like, where's the story going? And then luckily I got the audiobook, because the audiobook is so much better than reading it physically because they use different actors for the voices, and it was super helpful because reading it, I had a hard time reading the dialogue because there weren't any quotation marks or separations or anything. So thank God for the audiobook, but it did not save the story whatsoever. But it's about this woman who is just really all about herself. Absolutely just God's gift to the world type of person. Loves her body, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in being confident in yourself. But she is so self-involved, and just, it's painful to be in her head. But at the same time, you can't help but respect. And you know, like, her thoughts are like what you think. It's just stuff you don't share with people. Like, just rude, ignorant stuff half the time is what she's thinking. So yeah, Acts of Service, painful to read. Wasn't the biggest fan, though I loved the cover. I thought it was gorgeous. But yeah, it's about this woman who gets in a relationship, sort of a relationship, with this couple that she meets online, and it's just a weird dynamic between the three of them, because the main character is lesbian, but then she's also infatuated with this man, but she identifies as a lesbian, and then the couple aren't really a couple, and it's just painful to read. And then there's like this crazy reveal at the end, but nothing even comes from it. It just ends, and you're just left like, what was the point of all this? Because you're expecting something, like a deeper meaning to come from it, but nothing, absolutely nothing. So that was a disappointment, and I already sold the book. So yeah. And then another read that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but everyone seems to like it, and I don't. But it's Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. No idea why people liked it. I gave it like 2.5 stars. It has like a 4.1 on Goodreads, which I can kind of see why people would like it, but at the same time, I was so bored with it. And it was an audiobook, and I also, it dragged to listen to it. It was just so boring for me. Because the beginning, super interesting. It had me. This, she's not really a socialite, but she is married to this really famous older comedian, and the comedian ends up dead. And he's like found like in a bathtub, something cut on him, he was bleeding, and then the wife is found with the blade in her hand, and then she like passes out because she's like totally freaked out, and you're just, there's this whole investigation on like, did she do it, did his assistant do it, blah 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 blah. And then you also jump back in time to her life before that, the wife's life before that time, and then it's just like, I kind of predicted what was going to happen early on, and that was like one of the twists, which I was like, okay, we're 60% in and we're just now getting to this, okay. And like, none of the characters, I didn't care about any of them. And then the ending was so bizarre and not remotely entertaining to me whatsoever. No, the reveals, I was like, this is so convenient almost, and just, it was not shocking or interesting whatsoever. Like, once they revealed who murdered the comedian, I honestly did not care. I was like, okay. And then they had another twist, and I was like, this is just not good. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it was just, I don't get it. I don't get it, but I don't know. I've read quite a few thrillers in my lifetime, so I think maybe that's why. And I really enjoyed Jennifer's one book, Creep. I read that years ago, and I thought that was really good. I don't remember it anymore, but I thought that was really good. This, I was like, I don't get it. I don't get the hype. I was so bored with it. The audiobook was made really well, though, but that was it. I'm like, ugh, no thank you. No, thank you. But I will recommend it for people who are new to thrillers and mysteries and stuff like that, domestic thrillers, stuff like that, because you'll probably be into it, but I was not feeling it. So I had an author contact me about reading one of their short stories from this collection called Carnival Macabre, an anthology of gothic horror. And I thought it was pretty good. It was my first read of their work. Oh my god, cat. But it's called The Bone King by Greg E. Sawyer. I thought it was really good. It's about this guy who I'm sorry, my cat is here. this guy who hops on a train cart and train cart, and while he's on there, two younger kids 20 somethings jump on, and they are telling him about this tale of the bone, what did I say? Bone, what's his name? The Bone King. And like how this mythical ghost, circus ghost thing kills people. And yeah, things go crazy. And it was so much fun to read. It's very creepy, atmospheric. Did a really good job. The author did a really good job at keeping you on your toes. I didn't know what to expect. Yeah, and the ending was really good. It reminded me of a lot of creep show type of vibes where it's not always a happy ending. So I always appreciate those type of stories. And yeah, stellar. I give it 5 stars. Thought it was really good. And I think that's it. So yeah, those are all the books I read in the month of July. I had a really good reading month. I discovered a bunch of new authors. But how was your month? Did you read a lot of stories? I have so many books I want to read before fall comes. Because now we're in the third quarter of the year. And I got so many books I want to read for summer. And then fall will get here, and I can't wait because it's been so freaking hot here. Anyways, that is it. That is my wrap up. I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. I'm always open to take recommendations for anything, so just hit me up in the comments. It'd be awesome if you gave me a follow and a like. I would appreciate it. And even like leave a comment, like tell me how many books you read this past month. And yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much. Okay, bye.